What is going on, guys? Jack here and welcome back to another Football Manager video. Today we are taking a look at the best Wonderkid defenders in FM21. This is of course the second in our 4-part series looking at the best Wonderkids by position. Over 100 defenders featured in this shortlist. You can download it down in the description. There is a link, and well, I hope you enjoy. Midfielders will be coming up very, very soon. Goalkeepers was yesterday. Make sure to go check that one out as well. And well, of course, if you are new here, do subscribe for daily FM content. And well, let's get in game, shall we? I'm ready. You're ready. 100 of the best Wonderkid defenders coming right up. Okay guys, so here we are in game, the top 100 or so Wonderkid defenders in FM. 116 in this list, to be precise. Depending on the number of leagues you have loaded, you may have slightly more, you may have slightly less. But I felt for this run through we'd get a pretty good selection here. Of course, with this many players, I can't go through them all in this video. We would be here till the cows come home. However, you can, as I've already mentioned, download this shortlist down below. You can load it into game and check it out for yourself. So anyway, first and foremost, the highest value Wonderkid defender. Not entirely a surprise here. It's De Ligt, of course, playing for Zebra. Not Juve. Never heard of Juventus. Zebra are my best friends, and they are De Ligt's best friends. Of course, you're not really going to sign him from them, realistically. He joined from Ajax for 77 million last year. Still at the tender age of 20, an incredible centre-back. Probably the best Wonderkid centre-back in the game in terms of current ability. Interesting to note that shortly behind him we've got Rhys James, and it's a pretty good example here of why you shouldn't really just judge players based off value. Rhys James is good in FM this year. Of course, he's broken into the Chelsea team in real life, so he should be quite good. However, despite his okay potential and the fact he is, a decent player, he's probably not the second best player on this list, which is exactly why the values are kind of a bit skewy to look at. And of course, these higher value players probably going to be slightly more difficult to sign. One player who won't be difficult to sign is Garcia. Of course, contracted to Man City, but he's already announced in real life that he intends to leave the club at the end of the season. So if you're managing outside of the Premier League, look to snap this guy up in January. Of course, if you're Man City boss, well, firstly, shame on you for managing Man City. Secondly, sorry that you're going to lose this guy, because he's a really, really good ball-playing centre-back. Certainly a player worth keeping an eye open for. Beyond these players, we've got some of the typical overrated English players. Sorry, Ryan Sessegnon. You're good, you're not that good. One player who is very good is Koundé, who starts at Sevilla. Top quality centre-back, 21 years old. Absolutely insane physicals. His mentals for his age are top draw. His technicals as well for a centre-back are about as good as you could imagine. And you can sign this guy for under £40 million first transfer window. I realise for some of you, your eyes are watering right now as I say only under 40 million. Don't worry, got some cheaper players on this list as well for you to keep an eye on. Bastoni is one of the better players, I think, in terms of current ability. He starts at Inter, had a bit of a breakout season last year for them. He's a very good left-footed centre-back. Of course, they are an endangered species of sorts, so if you want a left-footed centre-back to play on the left, maybe Bastoni's your man. He's very good, very young, lots of potential. Not entirely surprising. Of course, the likes of Malang Sarr and Saliba, players who are contracted to Premier League clubs and recently made moves over. I know for Arsenal fans, they're quite excited by Saliba. I've seen him go on to be kind of a Arsenal Hall of Famer during a few simulations into the future. He is very, very good in FM this year. Anyway, as we scroll through, we're going to slowly but surely get to a few of the more affordable players. Of course, Upamecano, the Leipzig centre-back, is in this list. Great physicals, great defending. Not perhaps the best in the air when it comes to his heading, but keep an eye open for him. He's very good. His contract expires at the end of the first season as well. So again, you might be able to pick him up for very, very cheap in a save game. Alfonso Davis is criminally underrated. My understanding is that during the beta, they are still reviewing data. Of course, this video is being recorded during the Football Manager beta. I'm hoping Alfonso Davis is going to get a bit of an improvement, because I think defensively, they've done him dirty. But of course, he is a very, very good player in real life. Perhaps a little underrated in game. One player who's certainly worth keeping an eye out for is Van Housten, who starts at Standard. I realise that some people will be familiar with this guy because he's been good in the last couple of FMs, but at 20 years old, he's still not made a move in real life to a big club, so he's still up for grabs this year. Very, very good player. Very good with the ball at his feet. If you're someone who really likes to play out from the back, then Zeno here might be a man worth keeping an eye on. 20 dribbling and 20 finishing for a centre-back. I mean, dare I utter the words libero? Maybe. Very good, though. Keep an eye open for him. In terms of left-backs, there are not many left-backs better than Nuno Mendes this year. He starts at Sporting. He was decent last year. He's only got better this year in Football Manager. His physicals are insane. His mentals are top drawer. Great crossing, great dribbling. If you like to play with complete fullbacks, this man might well be your man. He won't come for you cheap, though, so perhaps want to keep an eye on, a couple of years into a save game, see if Sporting are willing to let him go. But a top-quality player, has great player traits as well for a wing-back. And definitely in the top 3 left-backs for me in this year's Football Manager, and that's saying quite a lot because for the first time in a while, there are some good fullbacks out there anyway. Anyway, as we move through the rest of this team here, you can see we've got the likes of Zagadou. Perez, I believe, is on loan from Atletico Madrid. He is indeed. He's not a bad player. He was quite good in the last couple of Football Managers. Mulder is a player worth keeping an eye on. A Turkish right-back already playing at an international level. Starts at Sassuolo. Very, very good player. Either-footed, you might want to train him to play on the left-back position as well. He can turn into a really good little superstar. And, if you're someone who loves to have a player on the bench who plays right-back and left-back and is either-footed, Mert here, probably your man. I will say he's only just moved to Sassuolo, so you can't sign him first season, but not going to cost you an arm and a leg when you eventually decide to pick him up. You can see here we've got Vitaly Mykolenko. He is one of a few Ukrainians. Uruguay and Ukraine, slightly different nations. In fact, you can see here, I already had a filter set up because I want to talk about this. You've got 2 very good left-backs playing in the Ukraine. You've got Vitaly, who starts at Dynamo Kiev. Very, very good player. You can see super good physicals for a left-back. Already has the gets forward whenever possible. Player trait as well. And Victor here, another great little left-back. Yes, a golden generation of Ukrainian left-backs, dare I say. Victor here might be the better one, in my opinion. I mean, who would you take, Vitaly or Victor? Answers on a postcard. I think Victor's better. You can see they are both the same age, but kind of crazy to see the Ukraine have 2 players kind of a golden generation coming through. They have got a couple of other players as well. Popov, who starts at Kiev. And additionally, we've got this guy here, whose name I'm going to get wrong, who's not quite as good as the other 2, but has a little bit of potential. So if you need a fullback, maybe go to the Ukraine, everyone. Apparently that's where they're all in hiding right now. Anyway, if we continue to scroll through here, you can see a whole host of other players. Dodo, another player playing in the Ukraine. Apparently that's where you should get all your Wonderkid defenders from. Per Schurz is playing for Ajax. Good little ball-playing defender. Not dissimilar to Van Housten, who we looked at previously. Pretty good physicals. Perhaps not as good as some of the other players on this list. Isn't the fastest player. Very good mentals. And also just great ball-playing ability. 11 first touch, 13 passing, 12 technique, 13 vision. Again, dare I utter the words libero? Maybe. Anyway, if we go through this list, Papetti's a player who featured in my top 10 Wonderkids video. If you haven't seen that video, do go check it out. There's a few players in this shortlist that are in that video. Papetti is one such player, starts at Brescia. You can sign him for £2 million. Top quality centre-back. He's only 18 years old, so a very, very young option. And he is just really, really good. There's not a lot more to it. Katabac is another fullback who I recommend checking out. 19 years old at the start of the game. Starts off at Cologne. Good determination. Okay physicals. Again, either-footed, professional personality. This man develops. You can see in this little screenshot I'll flash up, as I will have been doing for some of the other players in this list. He can be really, really good at left-back. Go on to be a star Premier League left-back, dare I say. And yeah, at 19 years old, he's got a hell of a lot of potential ahead of him. Similar player is Vadiol. I wanted to put this guy in my top 10 Wonderkids video, but I couldn't because of how much money he asks for. He's 18 years old. He's on loan, as you can see, from RB Leipzig here. He is certainly a player worth keeping an eye on, though. Just got incredible ability, as you can perhaps tell by how much Leipzig are paid for him. He's a player worth having on your radar if he does become available, because yeah, he's beyond solid, it'd be fair to say. A bit of an interesting Wonderkid on this list is Rhys Oxford, which you might think is generous. He was touted to be the super Wonderkid back in the day playing for West Ham, but he's not had the best of times. He's moved on since then. He went to Augsburg after a loan spell there and played, you can see, 12 games last year. He's 21. He has a lot of potential, but he doesn't really fulfill it. So if you want a bit of a project, a bit of a challenge, he might be your man to check out. It is worth noting that this year in Football Manager, the AI for bigger clubs has changed a little bit. So in previous years, players who are youngsters at big clubs wouldn't often force moves away to get regular first-team football. Of course, there's been a few high-profile examples of that in real life, like Jadon Sancho forcing a move away from Man City. So some of these younger players who start out at bigger clubs will occasionally ask for transfers. So by having this shortlist loaded, by occasionally just checking to see if any of them are transfer listed, occasionally some of them do come up. And one such player who you might want to hope comes up is Timothy Pambele. He starts at PSG. He is 17 years old. What can I say? The man can defend. 15 marking, 15 tackling, 15 positioning, very good aerial and speed as well. He's just a super well-rounded player. Maybe lacking a bit in some of the mentals you'd like for a centre-back. But he's only 17, so he's just going to improve and get better and better and better. Certainly have him on your radar. He's a player who I've seen go on to be one of the best centre-backs in world football. I guess the only downside is he does start at PSG, so you can't really guarantee he's going to be available. Anyway, I have just flicked on a filter for some of the younger players so we can just have a look through a few of these. There's a whole host of players playing at Valencia. They have just a collection of quite good centre-backs with really good potential. A few of these have really low release clauses. A few of them a little less so. A few of them, you know, like Mosquera here, you're going to have to pay an arm and a leg for, I'm sorry. Whereas there are a few others which come up for significantly cheaper. So, yeah, if you're looking for Wonderkids, Valencia is a good place. And Vazquez here, the left-back, is a good little option. Perhaps one of the best 17-year-old left-backs in the game. Fairly ambitious personality as well. Keep an eye open for him. He's good. He's good, put it that way. Anyway, another player who's super low down on this list, because we are searching by value, is Max Norman Williamson. He was number 2 in my top 10 Wonderkids video. I've now given away a big spoiler. I shouldn't have said what number he came in. Anyway, he starts at Kristiansand in Norway. He is 17 years old. And he's a good little player. Starts the game at 16 if you start a little sooner than I have. Just a top quality option, to be honest. You can sign him for around £2 million. Has insane kind of natural ability in the right areas. When you look at him, he's kind of what you'd want from a centre-back to begin with. He might need to hit the gym and bulk up. Besides that, though, he's just a super promising centre-back with a lot of potential. He will make big moves in a save game. Down at the bottom of this list, we have got a few cheaper players. Leon King starts at Rangers. This is a guy who has a lot of potential. I don't think I've actually seen him reach it in any of my simulations into the future, which is a little bit sad. Maybe you can be the man to get the most out of Leon. That is the challenge at hand. And elsewhere in the team, the cheapest player is Neto, who is not the best in terms of current ability on this list, but he's available for cheap, has a little bit of potential. You might want to consider picking him up. He has, the ability to develop. He's only 17 as well. He's just a child. Give him a chance. And also, the final player we'll look at here is David de la Vibora. He starts at Real Madrid. If we look at his information here, does he have a low release clause? No, he doesn't. But similarly to a lot of these players on this list, the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona, PSG, they tend to have a lot of Wonderkids who don't quite make it. So assuming you're not managing one of the biggest teams in the world, a lot of these players will just become available to sign. So yeah, have them on your radar. The most valuable 16-year-old, just as a little look, is Leandro Quiroz, who starts at Colón in Argentina. He looks pretty blooming good, doesn't he, at 16 years old? The makings of a very good player, and he's left-footed as well, so I guess that's a nice Brucey bonus. Anyway, that was just a little overview of this shortlist. Of course, you can download it down in the description. You can then load it by going to the cog here, clicking Load Shortlist, and then navigate into your PC's Downloads folder, and you can load it up in-game and look at all the players that I might not have covered today. Anyway, guys, that wraps up today's video from me. I did earlier forget to mention the sponsor of today's video. There is a sponsor. It's the like button. It's down below, the little thumbs up. Click it. It helps me out. It changes colour. Lets me know that you're enjoying the content as well. As I said at the top, the midfield shortlist will be coming shortly. You can download this shortlist from the link down in the description. And well, I hope to see you guys later. It is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.